Welcome back to Concepts. It's Claudine here, and in this iPhone tutorial, I want to show you how you can pump out more design concepts by working with an architectural template that I drew. Concept Smarter Sketching is a sketching app we designed for the iPad, and most recently for the iPhone. We created this app for professional designers, makers, and all passionate artists. This is my ideation project in my gallery. As you can see, I've already designed different concepts, and all of them were first made from this template right here. I'll be mostly working in landscape mode for concepts, and I'll be using my Pencil by 53 stylus for this tutorial. The toolbar is scrollable on the left hand here, and the settings function is now on this bar up top. Simply tap so we can get into the settings page. Since our iPhone screen is smaller, you can even use the pencil without pairing it. The other settings that I want to note for this tutorial are the new features of 2 and 3 finger taps. These are basically shortcuts, so when you're on your canvas, just tap with 2 or 3 fingers and your customized shortcut will function. My 2 finger tap is undo, and my 3 finger tap is redo. Alright. Let's just get out of settings here. Before getting started, I want to give you a quick walkthrough of my template. I drew a thin line sketch of the main form of my modern house design project. There's a flat roof here, multiple levels feature, and a post and beam detail in the front. So on the bottom here are the objects that I've already pre-drawn with features I have in mind. I have different lines here that could represent a texture or wood grain. Then I have 3 different sets of windows. On the right are loose shapes that could be bricks or cobblestone. Then I have abstract forms of people and trees that I'll later use for my environment. All of these objects I drew within one layer. Let me just rename that layer right now to Objects and Base Layer. Okay, for this concept, I'll start with the details for the garage and upstairs area. For the garage door, I want to start with 3 windows. I'm just using the selection tool to select one of the windows, and instead of moving this particular object, I'm going to make a copy through Adjust mode and move it upwards to my base drawing. Now, I want to give you guys a tip. Since our iPhone canvas is smaller than the iPad, you'll find yourself wanting to move strokes outside of what you can see on your screen. So to get around having to reselect the stroke, I just deselect my stroke by tapping outside the selection. Then I tap with 2 fingers, which if you remember is my undo shortcut, and presto, the same strokes or object is selected again. Now let's place more than one of these horizontal windows by tapping Copy in our Adjust Mode toolbar. I'm really liking the look of the 3 windows here. How about a visual divider of the windows from the details on the bottom of the garage door? So let me make a copy of the line on the bottom here. And now let me smoothen it by tapping the Smoothness option and dragging the slider up. The higher the number, the straighter your stroke will be. And let me adjust the window placements with the divider. Let me also make the divider stroke a little thicker. So after I select it, I'll use a slider for a thicker stroke. Now for more of the garage door details. Let's take a look at the lines objects here. This group of 5 up here, I drew with a fountain pen for the uneven stroke look. And I used it on my previous house concepts as wood grain. But for this concept, I want to use the straight stroke I have down here. Just moving the stroke up to the garage area, and it seems to be too thick. So with the stroke size slider, I'll make it to the thinnest at 0.3 points. Now I'm just going to make a bunch of copies of this stroke and arrange in a random but curated pattern. You can also witness my superhero speed right here. Then, for some variety, let me make the line shorter and place to fill in the gaps. So I think the garage looks good. Now let's move on to the second floor over here. This time, let's use this window design. And again, let's just select and make a copy and move up. And I'm just scaling it down a bit. Maybe we rotate our window so the divider is vertical. Again, let's make maybe 5 smaller windows up here. Let me just make the strokes in the garage door a little thicker too. Yep, I think this looks good. Next, I want to dial in the details for the front nook and entrance area. Let's start this section with the nook area here and use a bigger window. Let me just select it, then move it up, adjusting it to the right size. And I think that looks about right. Now for the front door, instead of using a pre-existing stroke, let me draw one quick stroke and smoothen it to be straighter. I'm just adjusting the stroke now for the door width. And to be faster, I'll just keep making copies of this stroke for the door design. Again, watch me move with my superhuman speed. Now let me just quickly heighten the stroke for the door. It's looking good at 3.2 points. Okay, now I want to add one big window for the entrance area. I'm copying one of the strokes from the door and making one big window. If the sides need to be shorter, I simply stretch the stroke down to the proper length I'm using. Just adding further details to frame the window here. As you can see, our modern house concept is already looking more refined after adding in all the details we worked in so far. On this next section, we'll be adding in cobblestone on the front post or column and match the pattern at the chimney on top of the flat roof. Okay, let's select the group of cobblestone pattern and move it up. To fill in the width of the column, I'm just going to copy one of the cobblestone strokes and move some of the other ones closer together. Oh, and let's copy this stone to balance our cobblestone pattern. And on the left here in adjust mode, let's flip it vertically, then horizontally. Then let me copy this set of 7 and start to fill up the column upwards. And along the way, let me just fill in the awkward gap here. And we just keep filling upwards on the column. And at the top here, we'll fill in with the slimmer cobblestones. For the chimney, let's select a smaller group of the cobblestone pattern and stretch it down for the appropriate scale. And let's just remove the excess stone patterns. And our modern house details are done. Now for refining our overall sketch. It's time to add our thicker line weight that would really help define the main form of the house. I just selected one of my previous straight strokes and let me place this on the flat roof line. And let's just start copying this stroke for the rest of the heavier outlines. In architectural sketches, a general rule of thumb for line weight is that your thickest or heaviest line weight will be over the parts of your building that touches the air or space in reality. So a good rule of thumb is the parts of the exterior walls that touch each other, you don't add the heavier line weight to. We also don't need to add thicker strokes to the base of the building because literally it's touching the ground. And now to add more life to our sketch, let's start to work in the environment. For this design concept, I want to use a tree on the furthest left here. To make our drawing more believable, we need to add the trees to follow my 1-point perspective sketch. That means there's foreshortening that I need to take into account. And so the closer the tree is to us, the bigger it is in the drawing space. Let's balance out the house by adding a row of trees on the right side as well. And for a gridded pathway, let me use one of my thinner straight strokes repeatedly and make the gap bigger and bigger as it gets closer to us. For even more of a true-to-life scale, this is when we add our abstract people sketch as our finishing touch. Always pair up or group your people so your sketch doesn't look subconsciously lonely. And that finishes our sketch. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on architectural sketching. Like most design work, we need to always have many iterations of our ideas. I hope working with a template here in Concepts can help ease your ideation phase. Please like, share, and comment on our video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. I'll see you guys in our next tutorial, and thank you for watching.